जयति जयति भारत माता बुध गीता 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 निखिल मतवन निरतनत जन सुगीता निखिल मतवन निरतनत जन सुगीता निखिल मतवन निरतनत जन सुगीता जयति जयति जयति।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं दैवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Till now, we had been considering the various questions posed by Arjuna to Krishna. He continues posing questions, and now he has reached a stage where his questions are spiritual based, the Vedic scripture based, rather than general questions like how did we take up this decision? Were we so foolish as to decide to fight in this war? Apart from all that character based questions, Arjuna has traveled into the spiritual and the more Anmika aspect that we say. He continues to ask Kulakshaye pranashyanti कुलधर्मा सनातनाः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृत्स्नम् अधर्मोऽभिभवत्युत. With the destruction of various families, knowledge that is passed from one generation to the next generation is lost to eternity. This is a universal fact as to what Arjuna is saying here. Kulakshaye pranashyanti. Again, Kula is the family. It just does not mean the family alone, but the clan. A clan which is identified by blood relation. What we call set of relatives, here it is called a clan because at that time the system of nuclear families was not there. It was a joint existence, and hence it was a clan like existence or an empire like existence instead of having an atomic or a nuclear family. In this Kula, when the Kula Kshaya happens, Kula Kshaya means the end of the clan ending. Pranashyanti, when the Nasha of the clan happens, Kula Dharmaha Sanatanaha Dharme Nashte. Sanatana means eternity, never ending, always existent. That is why Hinduism is originally called Sanatana Dharma, something which is true at all points of time. This can be recognized by the Vedic stances being in present tense all the time, and by our English education, we have been taught that universal truths are always in present tense. Hence, the Vedas are also always in present tense because it is always relevant. Trends might change, but the characters don't. Because we can take this to a very deep level in understanding of humans. Telling what part of the health may be affected at a point of time and how to take care of health at that particular time might change. But the fact that one has to be fit all the time will never change. Being fit, being healthy will not lead to diseases. This is a universal fact. Such facts are present in the Vedas. A few examples from the Upanishad like Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, and other aspects like Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, all these are in present tense, wherein it says, speak the truth, follow the path of Dharma, This will never go wrong. There will never exist a time where speaking the truth will be a wrong thing. So, in the same manner, mothers will always be godly figures for us, so will fathers and teachers. There will never exist a time where all the mothers are criminal towards their children. This will never happen. And thus, such messages are imbibed into the Vedas and given to us as a set of guidelines to follow for a divine life, for a life without any pain, for a life which can be lived to its fullest. If one does not want to live life to their fullest, then all such values go to waste. There may be people saying, what is the use of living for such a long time? I will smoke. How do you know that the lifespan reduces if you smoke? And all these questions. These are people who do not want to live their life to the fullest extent. Trying to guide them to live life to the fullest is only foolishness. Instead, one must try to live his own or her own life to their fullest, so that at the end of the day they are satisfied by their existence. Many great people have quoted that the biggest gift you can give yourself is satisfaction. Nobody else can give you satisfaction, only you can give yourself satisfaction. Your karma will give you satisfaction. There may be thousands of people saying, what a great job you have done, sir. Ma'am, you're absolutely amazing. But only if you inside feel that you have done a great job will you be able to enjoy it. If you have done something by greed or treachery, you will not be able to enjoy the compliments. You might have a smiling face on the outside and say thank you for everything they say, but you will not be able to enjoy it finally. You will not be able to remember it. Continuing in Arjuna's spiritual dive, we can say. He has dived into spirituality here, and spiritual means understanding of oneself. And when one is able to understand oneself completely, then they will be able to understand the Paramatman too. When the foundation of a family is disrupted, the various values and flow of knowledge is interrupted. The special skills are lost for eternity. Always we must note that skills and tips are always given orally. They are never given as text. Even when a coach gives tips to the player, he says it orally. The tips are always given in an oral fashion. The education, the academic part is on the text. How to approach it is said orally. Because it's a skill. And that skill is taught orally. And when a generation of such skill holders are destroyed, that skill is lost to eternity. A very famous example of this is entering the Chakravyuha. Arjuna knew, but Arjuna could not deliver the entire information of how to enter a Chakravyuha to his son, and thus his son lost his life. He could not get the complete information out of his father. And after that, Arjuna could not teach anyone else too. He could not bear to think of the Chakravyuha again because it brought tears to his eyes. That he had given his son the dangerous weapon of half knowledge. We are talking about times when knowledge was predominantly passed only by voice. It was the Shruti Parampara. Everything was said, learnt, practiced, or said, by hearted, repeated, the meaning and the essence learnt and followed. If we keep repeating something and do not imbibe the sense of it at all, there is no use. One can sing the national anthem every day or for his whole life, but if that national anthem does not give him any patriotism, it is a disrespect to the national anthem itself. The effect the national anthem was supposed to take has not taken. Why do we sing a national anthem? Why do we have a national emblem? Why do we see the national flag and salute it? It imbibes a sense of patriotism inside us, nationalism inside us, and that is how we remember it as our identities. If that flag is a piece of cloth to you and does not mean anything, that means either you have failed as an individual or the person who has tried to explain the nature behind the flag has failed. But the flag will never fail. Similarly, is Sanatana knowledge. The knowledge will never fail. The way that it is interpreted may be wrong at times, the way it is understood may be wrong at times, but the knowledge is always there for eternity. And there will be people to grab it at various points of time and exhibit it to people in the right fashion. And such people become our gurus to lead us in our life. Arjuna continues to pour out his emotions, saying, अधर्मोऽभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय जायते वर्णसङ्करः सङ्करो नरकायैव कुलघ्नानां कुलस्य च पतन्ति पितरो ह्येषां लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रियाः. I have combined two shlokas so that we will have a sense of continuity in knowing the meaning, because they are very sensitive shlokas which have to be understood in extremely clear phases. Any doubt in this will lead to a stage of doubt in the entire script, that one will take a lot of time again to get clarity. I am saying this because of my own personal experience, where I had a lot of difficulty understanding these particular shlokas. And this made me go into the script and refer 3 or 4 bhashyas completely before understanding what the script says. Because Samskrita is a very different language. One word has several meanings and you have to fit it into the context properly. Saindhavaha means salt and a horse in the equal manner. If someone who is eating says Saindhava Manaya, it means please serve some salt. If a person who is going for war says Saindhava Manaya, it means bring the horse for battle. If a person who does not have knowledge of the fact that Saindhava means horse or Saindhava means salt, if he does not know that it has 2 meanings, and if he only sees one nuclear meaning in it, meaning that it is salt, and he starts referring to everything as salt, many scripts will not make sense to him. He will say, see this king, how foolish he is. Battle is starting and he is saying bring salt. And then this king is sitting on salt and going. Are you getting the context here? So when we don't understand the meaning of a particular word and fit it in the context there, and assume that like in several other languages one word has one concrete meaning, then we will not be able to enjoy the beauty of this. One word will have several meanings which have to be taken in several contexts. So it is very important to understand this through the mulya of a person who has understood it. And I take the opportunity to help most people to understand it completely. If there are any doubts, kindly put it up in the comment section. I will be referring to every doubt in the next video and helping everyone get a clear picture of what these 2 shlokas say. So I hope the amount of emphasis I have given to the importance of this shloka is taken seriously. Adharmo bhibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriyaha. When adharma dominates in the society, the first set of people who are affected are the women and the children, because they are under physical threat. I will be quoting examples also. I will be doing this in a very sensitive manner in order to ensure the essence is clearly understood. When the elders who pass on knowledge, tradition and value are destroyed, women who are the pillars of the family become feeble and vulnerable. The Smriti says यत्र नार्यस्तु पूज्यन्ते रमन्ते तत्र देवताः. Where women are respected and worshipped. By worshipped I mean not doing puja to them, protected, revered, are looked at as great people. Ramante tatra devataha. There the society prospers and the gods are happy. If the gods have to be happy, respect the women equally. That is what it says. Again, this is not a feminist statement where they come and say women demand more respect or less respect or romanticizing the culture of women respect. This is not in any of those aspects. Where women are revered, their role is completely secured and respected. There, the gods, even the gods enjoy. So, but isn't this contradictory to saying the women are the first people who are affected? Let us take examples and understand it. Arjuna continues to say, Strishu dushtasu varshneya jayate varna sankaraha. Varna sankaraha directly means mixing of races, but it is not the meaning here. Various explanations, bhashyas by revered saints like Ramanujacharya, Sri Adi Shankaracharya, Swami Shivananda, Swami Chinmayananda, all of these people, even Srila Prabhupada ji of ISKCON, have explained this very clearly. And in the dictionaries of Sanskrit, if we look into the dictionary of Sanskrit, Sankaraha means mixing of races in one, mixing in one, and the other it means not legitimate. So let us come to that not legitimate aspect. We have often witnessed that women, when misled, the society collapses faster. And when women have clarity, the entire clan flourishes. So when these women who are the pillars of the society are affected, the upcoming progeny are also highly affected, as the knowledge and values which always start from the mother are not available for them. Let us understand this in much depth with respect to historical events. When the Mughals attacked India, two things happened after the war. I am talking about what happened after the war. When the Mughals or the British invaded India, when any invader invaded India, after the war, the children and the women who are remaining were the most affected. The children were made to do menial chores for no money, not employment, not child employment and all. They were just kicked out of the family. They did not know who their parents were also. They were abandoned and forced and put into some factory or kiln to work. All their life they did not know where they came from. This is one aspect. The second aspect was the women who were remaining, who were the wives of these brave warriors who fought in the war, were impregnated by the people who attacked, the invaders. If I might, they were raped in various cases. They were raped, and a result of this rape was illegitimate children. These children did not get the respect of the children who were born of the invader. At the same time, they were treated inferior because they could not be associated with a woman also. The woman could not explain who the child's father was to the child. This led to one more consequence. This is what our history has discussed in depth. This led to one more consequence. Even the legitimate children that were born, they were kicked out. They were kicked out of the family. And they did not know who their ancestors were. Hence, they could not perform their rites. They could not do this lupta pindo daka kriya. What has to be done to their ancestors What had to be done to their fathers could not be done, to their rishis could not be done. All those offerings were left over, and the child who might have been a great warrior's son was forced to live the life of an orphan. He or she did not know who their parents were. For all we know, the person might have been the child of a great warrior like Prithviraj Chauhan or Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj or other great warriors which our Bharata Bhumi has produced. But once this invasion happened, their whole Kula's identity was erased. Think about a situation where we do not know who our parents are, our grandparents are, what they did, who they were, what their qualities are, who we must learn from. None of these things are available as resources. It was very emotional for me to explain this aspect. But again, we must understand what Arjuna is trying to convey here. Once this battle happens, he fears if they lose. The Kauravas have already tried to take advantage of Draupadi even in their presence. Even when the Pandavas were there, they tried to take advantage of Draupadi. And Draupadi was a royal woman, a royal birthed woman. She was a queen, wife of 5 great warriors, and these Kauravas did not have any shame or fear in bringing her to the middle court and trying to disrobe her. Think about what might happen to the wife of a common soldier. This is a lady we are talking about who is the daughter of a great warrior like the king of Panchala, Drupada, in the presence of mighty warriors like Bhishma and Drona, in the presence of great people with shastric and dharmic knowledge like the great people of Vidura, Yudhishthira, and in the midst of great Danaviras like Karna, such a disrobing act happened. All these people were present, but they could not do anything about it. Arjuna asks, "Oh Krishna, then what will happen when we are not there? When we were there in that place, the Kauravas called her Dasi and bought her. What will happen to a real Dasi? What will happen to a real soldier's wife? If this is the respect that is given to a king's woman, what will be the respect given to the warrior's wife? She is a common woman. She is not of royal birth. At least for Draupadi, there might be a fear that Drupada might come and attack. At that point of time, look at how many warriors are sitting there. Yet Duryodhana and Dushyasana did not have any fear that her husband might come and attack us. Maybe Vidura will stop us. Maybe Bhishma will stop us. No fear. Maybe Krishna will come and stop us. Fear was not there. Oh Krishna, what will happen when we are not there? What will happen? All the Lupta Pindodaka Kriya will happen. Lupta means stop. Pindodaka Kriya means the offering that is done after once father or forefathers have died. Offerings to the ancestors. What will happen to the Vedic rites? What will happen to the skills of that family? This is a excerpt from the Mahabharata. There is an extremely talented poet who has come to fight, because at those times all the men had to go to war. There was no choice. Today we are all privileged to be living in this country where you can choose to become a soldier. In the Vedic times, it was never a choice. If there was war, you had to go to war. You had to become a soldier then. You cannot choose to stay at home. That protection is only for women because they might have health issues. This is not a time of the recent 20th century. This is a time back in the day where animals were predominant and women could be physically dominated. Yet we have the examples of Jhansi Rani Lakshmibai and Vanake Obhava and others. But yet all the men had to go to war. That was the criteria. You might be a poet, you might be a king, you might be anyone. Unless and otherwise you are physically disabled, you had to be a soldier. So, what will happen to all the skills, O Krishna? One might be a poet, one might be a goldsmith, one might be an ornament specialist. All these skills will be lost for eternity. They might have taught someone, they might have not had the chance to even teach till now. What will happen to all those skills, Krishna? What will happen to their wives, to their children? Aren't we answerable to all that? Isn't it our place to sit here and answer those questions? We are of royal progeny and we are worried about our wife. What about all the warriors, their mothers? Won't they be widowed? Won't they have any sorrow? The common man's sorrow is just as important as my sorrow or your sorrow, Krishna. And hence this war must not be fought. And thus, with that point, I conclude my lecture for today about Arjuna's grief and lamenting. He will continue his rant, if we are eligible to call it. He will continue his rant in the upcoming session. And please stay tuned to the upcoming sessions to know what else he states in front of Krishna in order to make him convince him to end this war. What's more interesting? The answers that Krishna gives to make him fight again. Aren't we all convinced that the war is not needed now? We are all convinced, right? Krishna will all convince us again that war is needed. And with that note of the Supreme's power to change our minds, I place my prayers on His divine feet to help us change all our minds and focus on salvation, moksha. Govindeti sada dhyanam, Govindeti sada japam, Govindeti sada dhyanam, sada Govinda kirtanam. स्वस्तिः प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः सज्जनाः सन्तु निर्भयाः अपुत्राः पुत्रिणः सन्तु पुत्रिणः सन्तु पौत्रिणः अधनाः सधनाः सन्तु जीवन्तु शरदां शतं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्।